Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Councillor Cuddy. I'm also going to take this opportunity to recognize Councillor Frank, Councillor Rahman, and Councillor Stevenson, who are all joining us remotely this morning as well. In chambers, we have Councillor Ferreira, Hopkins, Pribble, and McAllister. Sorry, in committee room. Yes, thank you, Councillor Hopkins, not in chambers, in committee room. It's Monday morning. We're just waiting a moment because the items on today's agenda are clerk's items, but our clerk is with us now. So we're going to call the 13th meeting of the Governance Working Group to order. We'll start by acknowledging that the City of London is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenape-Pewak, and Attawandaron peoples, and we honor and respect the history, languages, and culture of the diverse Indigenous people who call this territory home. And the City of London is currently home to many Indigenous, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. And as representatives of the people of the City of London, we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work in this territory. The City of London is also committed to making every effort to provide alternate formats and communication supports for meetings upon request. And to make a request specific to this meeting, please contact abush@london.ca. Colleagues, I'm just going to start by looking for any disclosures of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, then moving right along. We have nothing in our consent agenda. We do have a couple of items for discussion on our deferred matters list. So we will start with items for discussion 3.1. This is the general policy for community advisory committees update. And Councillor Rahman.
Hi, thanks very much. Well, I'll try to be a little bit short on this matter. So here's what I'm thinking at this point. I've had a chance to review the terms of reference that are included in the appendix for this document. And I've been going through it over a number of weeks, just looking at some opportunities for more discussion to align our work at standing committees with the work that's coming in from our advisory committees, whether it's through the deferred matters list, so that we're being provided with advice on matters that are coming to us through deferred matters or other mechanisms within the work plan. So I think that direction would help to give some more clarity in terms of the role of the advisory committee to council and the type of advice that we need in order to make better decisions. How do we get that engagement from the public? So I'm hoping that my colleagues would be open to a bit more time for this discussion. As you know, there's also a motion from DIAC that's included in, or that has been referred now twice. It's on the deferred matters list for today, included in this terms of reference discussion. And the motion reads that they're asking for an opportunity for the terms of reference to be reviewed, but they're only asking for it to be reviewed in the context of racialized Londoners. So I want to get a better sense of that as well. Because that's not the entirety of what DIAC does, nor is it entirely the makeup of the group. So I don't know if that was a wording choice and not reflective of the entirety of what they're looking for. I've had some initial conversations, but haven't had anything in depth about what the intention there is. Or their intention is, sorry. So that's where I'm at right now with things. I'd like to move I guess it's a referral of this matter to our next meeting.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Rahman, and I'll look to see if there's a second for that, and there is in Councillor Pribble. So we'll go to some further discussion on the referral, but obviously we're referring the whole thing, so pretty much we're open for some discussion. And Councillor Hopkins, you're next.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple questions. When is our next meeting, and do we need, and is there a timeline to make a decision on the terms of reference? Do we have a bit of more time to questions?
Well, we'll go to the clerk on the timeline piece.
Through the chair, I'll have to check with the date of the next meeting. However, we are at the will of committee with respect to timelines. This is direction that council gave to administration to bring forward these changes. So if there's a referral for more consideration, we're fine with that.
And Councillor Hopkins, I'm just looking to the calendar as well, so I'll get back to you with that as quickly as I can.
Yeah, just as a follow-up, go ahead.
Through the chair, the next meeting is November 25th.
I'm good with supporting the referral.
Councillor Ferreira?
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So yeah, I hear what the councillor is saying, and I'm not necessarily opposed. I just am concerned with the large deferred matters, or sorry, the large list of items that we still have that are still on the agenda. So I just wanted to know with staff resources, especially in the clerk's office, I do see there's a motion from Councillor Rahman actually that may answer this as well. But I just wanted to ask staff or the clerk's office on what your resources are and what other matters may be deferred back, and just if you can, just with everything being pushed back, are we able to actually do that work and with still bring the other matters that we have on that list as well in a good time?
Sure, we'll go to the clerk and just before I do, having done this working group for 6 years now, Councillor, I will also share that, well, almost 6 years, 6 years next month, that it's not unusual for the working group to have a fairly long deferred matters list, and some of these things can take a fair amount of time, and we can kind of bring them back, refer them back, bring them back, refer them back, which has been pretty regular. I think the discussion around our preferential voting when we select like our advisory committees and our boards and commission stuff, I think that actually sat with us for something in the range of 2.5 years before we made a final decision. So those sorts of things do happen at the working group, but let's go to our clerk to ask about how you are doing with the rest of the deferred matters list and timeline resources.
Thank you. Through the chair, it shouldn't be an issue. We'll be fine.
I have no one else on the speakers list. I will just say myself briefly, I'm supportive of this as well, just because, and certainly Councillor Rahman, you had me at aligning with our standing committee deferred matters lists and items that are coming before our standing committee too. Will share that I'm not entirely comfortable with the terms of reference where they are, because I still see things coming forward from advisory committees that I don't know how they got on their agenda, because they're not things that we asked for advice on. And yet we have things that are on our deferred matters list that I haven't heard from advisory committees on. So I think your point about making sure that those are aligned is really key. And I'm not sure that we are quite yet there on our draft terms of reference. So I'm happy to support this. Councillor Hopkins?
Yeah, I don't have the motion in front of me, but I heard from the councillor that it was to be referred to the next governance working group, which is in November. So is that basically the motion?
Yes, that's the entire referral. Councillor Rahman's not asking for the clerks to undertake any additional work at this time. She's simply asking for some time to review the things in more detail and have some discussions herself with DIAC, and I presume she may want to talk to a couple of other advisory committees as well. And of course, that gives all of us the time to do that as well if we wish to undertake some of that direct engagement with them. So with no one else on the speakers list, I'm going to call a vote. All those in favor? And any opposed?
Motion carries.
Thank you, colleagues. Moving on, the next item on our agenda was a item for discussion that Councillor Rahman asked to have included on this particular meeting, which is an update on our staffing. And this is a verbal update. So I'm going to ask our clerk to provide us a verbal update on our staffing situation in council offices.
Thank you, Chair. So I can advise that within 48 hours of becoming advised of an AA leaving for another opportunity, we did post internally and externally, as well as for the EA position. Those have both been posted internally and externally. Those postings have both closed, from what I understand. Human Resources is currently going through all of the applications. We received a significant number of applications for both of those positions. They've not finished the screening for that. As soon as they're done the screening, then of course we'll be able to move forward with that. I understand Ms. Hunt will be following up with People Services this week to ensure that that screening process is accelerated. There's a high interest in, certainly in the clerk's office, in ensuring that our positions are filled and that there's the appropriate assignments are made. And on that piece, we do take into consideration preferences, longstanding relationships with counselors, as well as the skill sets that are needed for particular ward. And that's part of the determination of assignments.
Thank you. So we're gonna look for any questions for our clerk while we have him at the dais there. Counselor Cuddy?
Thank you, and
And sorry, Counselor Cuddy, I'm just gonna, before you jump in, I just want to remind folks that because this is a staffing verbal update, we need to be careful not to refer to any specific individuals as personally identifiable information. For anything that would fall under that category, we would have to go into a closed session. And I'm not sure that I would need to talk to the clerk about what we would have to do there, but if we can just refrain from, before we get into debate, if we can all just refrain from using any particular assistants' names or position. Counselor Cuddy? Counselor Cuddy, we're not getting you at the moment. Oh, there, you just unfroze. So if you'd like to try again.
Thank you, Chair. And through you, are you okay to hear me?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear now.
I'm just curious, and this question is for staff, whether or not there is traditionally a high turnover role, a high turnover rate in this role. It just seems in the past 2 years we've had a lot of turnover. Thank you.
And we'll go to our clerk.
Certainly. Thank you for the question, and through the chair. I have conferred with People Services, and there's turnover throughout the entire organization. Whether that's accelerated in the last couple of years, unusually, in comparison to previous times, that would be felt across the entire corporation. There are certain areas that experience more turnover. As you're aware, council directed that we move to a different model. We've just finalized that. I believe that was in February. And so we're able to make those positions permanent. We have not experienced an exceptionally high turnover. There are other areas that are experiencing exceptionally high turnover. Some of the turnover is related to statutory leaves, and there's backfilling. Some of them is related to individuals making life choices, moving to different positions, maybe in a different province, to a different municipality. Sometimes they're going to a lateral. So there's typical, what I would say, the typical movement. It is difficult for every service area to keep people forever. I'll just say that. People do move. Some folks are in positions for several years, then they see an opportunity and move to that new opportunity. And being in the counselor's office is an exceptionally valuable experience for them. They learn a lot of skills, and they understand what the municipality has to offer. And when they see those opportunities, they may move to a lateral.
Thank
Counselor?
Thank you, Chair.
Looking for other speakers. I see none, so we would just need a motion to receive the update from the clerk. Counselor Cuddy, seconded by Counselor Ferreira. And Counselor Ferreira, did you want, no? Okay, so I will then just call the question. All those in favor? And any opposed?
Motion carries.
Thank you, colleagues. That brings us to our deferred matters list. As you mentioned, Counselor Ferreira, there's quite a number of things on the deferred matters list. You will note, colleagues, that a number of them are now indicated, item 4 and item 2 and item 6 are all referred under the terms of reference we approved to the Council Resourcing Task Force, which we did pass those terms of reference at SPPC last week. So if they're approved at council tomorrow, then the clerks can begin seeking applications to populate that task force. And then we have the other items. I'm just going to look to see if there's any discussion on any of the particular items before we look for a motion to receive the deferred matters list. I'm not seeing any specific questions, so can I have a motion to receive? Moved by Councillor Hopkins, seconded by Councillor Cuddy. All those in favor? And any opposed?
Motion carries.
Thank you, colleagues. That concludes our agenda, so we just need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Hopkins, and seconded by Councillor Ferreira, and Councillor Frank, and Councillor Rahman. So lots of seconders for adjournment. All those in favor?
That carries.
Thank you, colleagues. We'll see you around the office today. Or for those remote, have a great day.